Hello and welcome to another episode of the People Podcast. Today I want to explore something that I believe is reshaping organizations quietly but powerfully. And that's the evolution of HR. For years, HR has been viewed primarily as a support function. Policies, recruitment, compliance, employee relations, all essential, but not always strategic. And that's where the shift is happening. The organizations that are truly progressing right now are no longer treating HR as a support service. They're treating it as a strategic powerhouse. So what does that actually mean? The workplace has changed. Employee expectations are higher than ever. Talent is more selective. Leaders are under greater scrutiny. Well-being is now discussed at board level. But many organizations are still operating HR models designed for a different era. And that gap between expectation and structure is where performance either accelerates or stalls. Because if HR is reactive, the business becomes reactive. If HR is strategic, the business becomes proactive. When I look at high-performing organizations, one thing is clear. HR is aligned to strategy. It isn't operating on the side of the business. Workforce planning is connected to growth goals. Development is preparing people for future capability, not just current tasks. Succession planning is treated as risk management, not paperwork. When HR aligns with strategy, it stops responding to problems and starts enabling direction. That's a significant difference. Then there's engagement. Engagement is often misunderstood. It's not about perks or social events. It's about the conditions that allow people to perform consistently. Clear communication builds confidence. Trust creates stability. Recognition fuels discretionary effort. Opportunities for growth sustain motivation. A sense of belonging strengthens loyalty. Fairness reinforces commitment. When organizations measure and understand these drivers, they gain clarity. When they don't, they rely on instinct. And instinct in people's strategy can be expensive. Because by the time this engagement becomes visible, it has usually already cost you something. Leadership capability is another major factor. Managers shape the daily employee experience far more than policies ever will. If managers are not confident in giving feedback, managing performance, coaching their teams, or handling difficult communication or conversation, culture becomes inconsistent. And inconsistency weakens trust. Leadership isn't just about authority. It's about clarity, accountability, and influence. And those are the skills that can be developed intentionally. Then we have infrastructure. This is where many organizations underestimate the impact of systems. If HR data is scattered across spreadsheets and emails, HR remains administrative by necessity. But when systems are integrated and data is accessible, HR can analyze trends, forecast workforce risks, and support leadership with evidence-based insight. Technology does not replace the human side of HR. It strengthens it. It gives it capacity. And finally, sustainable well-being. Performance without well-being is short-term. Organizations that ignore psychological safety, workload balance, and employee support often see productivity in the short run. But long-term stability requires sustainability. Well-being is not separate from performance. It supports performance. When people feel supported and valued, they contribute more consistently and more creatively. So here's the question. Is your HR function structured for growth or structured for maintenance? Growth-focused HR anticipates future needs. It connects data, leadership, culture, and strategy. Maintenance-focused HR reacts to issues as they arise. Believe me when I say this, both models operate, but only one drives transformation. At Ethos of HR, the conversations we are increasingly having with organizations focus on integration. Not standalone policies, not isolated training, but aligning engagement insight, leadership capability, digital infrastructure, and strategic workforce planning into one coherent people framework. Because when those elements operate together, HR becomes a multiplier, not a cost center. If you are reflecting on your own organization, consider this. Are your people decisions informed by data or instinct? Are your managers equipped to lead people, not just manage tasks? Can HR clearly demonstrate its contribution to organization performance? If there's hesitation in those answers, that's not a problem. It's an opportunity. HR is evolving. It is analytical. It is cultural. It is commercial. And when structured intentionally, it becomes one of the most powerful drivers of organization success. Thank you for listening to the People Podcast. Until next time, let's continue building better workplaces.